Hello, my name is Veronica. I make videos about Gregorian chant and the Little Office of the Blessed Virgin Mary. I haven't made any about the Divine Office. Anyway, here's a reaction video. Someone said that a priest or someone should make an introduction to the Divine Office, really easy, accessible sort of thing. And it turns out St. Benedict's Abbey in Kansas has made such a thing. So that's their logo, St. Benedict's Abbey in Kansas. And it's a really short video. It's 2.25 minutes. And I guess I thought it would be a good one to have a go at making a reaction video to, because I enjoy watching reaction videos myself. So here we go.
As monks, we pray a lot.
Oh,
That's the
can you
main
hear
reason
that?
we're monks at all. But in the Roman Catholic Church, we're all invited to pray in a very specific way.
Yeah, I love that the main job of monks is to pray. Yeah, because that's the word office comes from. Are you fit for office? The office of politician, or it's not just a building. It's your job. So yeah, the divine office is the divine job given to the religious. Okay, and that we're all called. It's the prayer of the church. It's a great introduction. Yeah.
Thousands of years ago, in the Jewish tradition dating back to King David, a divinely inspired set of prayers called the Psalms were composed by various authors.
Cool. And we often talk about King David's Psalms. Various authors, as I understand it, there's some David, some Solomon, I think. Anyway, the Psalms is really important.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
They endured throughout that tradition. They even formed the mind of Christ.
Yeah,
They
perfect.
formed Christ's person so much, so effectively, so thoroughly, that at the peak of his mission on the cross, he quotes Psalm 31, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit.
Yes, yeah.
And Psalm 22, Father, why have you forsaken me? After his resurrection, Christ's disciples began to form their own manner of prayer.
Yeah. So the Psalms, it's like the common canon that everyone knew. So when you're going through the Bible in a year with Father Mike Schmitz, and he sort of brings out these sort of connections between the Old Testament and New Testament and things like that. And so knowing the Psalms makes more sense of the rest of the Bible. And they're the same things Mary would have prayed, and all the people at the time. Yeah, so devout Jews at the time prayed, they internalized the Psalms. They would have had lots of them in memory. Yeah.
And they integrated elements of the Jewish tradition into that, notably the Psalms. St. Benedict, for himself, had a special phrase for this work. He called it the Opus Dei.
Yeah, the work of God. Oh, he's going to say that in. So Benedict is about 500 AD, going from memory. So there's a fair bit of organic development happening from Jesus' time, the 1st century to the 4th century. There were people going off into the desert to pray. I mean, the beauty of this video is it's so short and so to the point. So let it go.
The work of God. Today, the Divine Office, or the Liturgy of the Hours, is broken into 5.
Yeah, so Liturgy of the Hours. Since Vatican II, I think they tried to rebrand everything. So the Divine Office is what we call it before Vatican II, Liturgy of the Hours post-Vatican II sort of thing. And here he says it's in 5 parts. Okay, here we go.
5 parts.
5 parts.
Vigils, Lauds, Midday Prayer, Vespers, and Compline.
Yeah, which is sort of good. But, okay, so if you're following my course on how to sing the Little Office, and you see my T-shirt, which I haven't got on today. Yeah, so it used to have 8 parts. It used to be vigils is, I think it's the Anglican term for matins. But in the Liturgy of the Hours books that I've got, they call that the Office of Readings. So that's where you have, it's more time because it's the middle of the night, nothing else to do except pray all night. Lauds was actually combined with the with matins or vigils. It was so Lauds was the end of the thing where you're about to wake up and the sun was just coming up. So so monks would get up midnight or 3 a.m. or something like that to pray matins and Lauds. And then when priests had to do it, they could anticipate matins the night before, so they wouldn't have to break their sleep and they get more sleep all in one go, which I can appreciate. Yeah, you know, being a parent and stuff like that, having sleep all together is wonderful. So let's see. So it's funny that they separate vigils and louds, which sort of makes sense because they're two big things. But historically, with the 8, the quote from the Psalms is, "I praise you 7 times a day." So it sort of made 7 if you combined matins and louds together to make 7. Yeah. So so you have matins, louds, then prime, first, sext, none, and all those 4 are sort of squished into midday prayer in the new one. So yeah, there's 4 into 1. So you split the ones that used to be together, put those 4 together, then you have Vespers and Compline like usual, because Vespers is a really popular one where you have a lot of music, and Compline is just at the end of the night. That's usually nice and simple because at the end of the day you're about to fall asleep. You don't want it complicated. So does that make sense? Let's see. Yeah, so it's a Liturgy of the Hours. And books still have, the books I've got, yeah, they still have Office of Readings, morning prayer, and then they, instead of midday, they have mid-morning prayer, midday prayer, and mid-afternoon prayer. So it's 3 ones, except they use the same psalms each time. So there's not really much point praying all 3 because you're repeating what you did before. So, yeah, I guess it's simplified. They don't go through as many psalms in a day as you used to in the old one. In the old one, you got through all the psalms, absolutely all 150 psalms in 7 days. And with the Liturgy of the Hours, they actually skip some psalms, which are, there's some imagery in the psalms. Then they're not the most politically correct sort of things all the time. Yeah, there's some turbulent emotions being described, and yeah. So they took out the problematic ones and they spread them over 4 weeks instead of getting them all done in 1 week. So now you have a 4-week thing. So you have to figure out which week. You have to figure out which week you're praying as well as what day. And yeah, that's where having an app is really good. And he talks about an app later. So in the monastery, you're full-time praying this, so you can cope with this complexity and look onto the guy next to you, see what page they're up to and things like that. And yeah. Anyway, yes, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Each of these sprinkled throughout the day,
yeah,
is an invitation.
Oh, and I also wanted to say that even 5 times a day, I don't do 5 times a day. So they're doing a great job to do 5 times a day in the monastery. Yeah, that's still very laudable.
Return to God, return to the awareness of His presence, and a recognition that our lives are a gift from Him. But let me make the invitation to you. In the monastery, we have our own choir books.
Yeah, choir books.
The guy behind the camera tells me that there's a free app called iBreviary that puts the Divine Office at your fingertips. By engaging in this form of prayer, you can unite your prayers with those. Yeah,
so I use one called Universalis. So when I'm getting into the Divine Office, Universalis is available for iPhone and everything. Okay, so iBreviary is available in the Google Play Store. You can't see that. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, and
of the Universal Church.
It's very handy.
St. Benedict's Abbey. So join us in praying as Christ prayed and as St. Benedict prayed. And may the Lord lead us all together to everlasting life.
There you go. This is lovely done. Yeah, it's nice to see those high production values, and here I am having a low production values thing. Anyway, but I hope that sort of explains where I'm coming from, why the stuff I'm doing is a little bit different to what you might see in iBreviary. And yeah, it's good to see. So if anyone needs an intro to the Divine Office and they're at that sort of a level, that's a definitely good video to send them to, that the Psalms are so important and that we have them soaked through the day at different times. And yeah, so the religious are obligated to pray this. For the laity like us, it's an optional sort of thing. You can just pray one or the other. You don't, like, whatever time you have best for prayers. Like, a lot of people wake up a little bit earlier in the morning and say louds or something like that. The Office of Readings has lots of interesting stuff. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy the video, and yeah, share it around so everyone can find out about the Divine Office. And yeah, get more people praying. There's so many things to pray for at the moment. Well, that's all the time. God bless. Have a good day.